Hey everyone, Ben Yunsen here. Recently, I've had a number of students ask me if there's a quick way to get started playing giant steps. And while, like anything on guitar, it takes a certain amount of time to master a concept and bring it up to performance standard, there are two particular approaches that I'd like to share with you today that really helped me to master this infamous chord progression. If you've joined me here on my channel for some time, you'll know that I've presented numerous improvised solos over the chord changes to giant steps, and additionally I've presented several lessons discussing this chord progression in great depth. If you'd like to check one of those lessons out, you can have a look up here. But today I'd like to present to you a type of quick start guide for guitar in terms of how you can use certain materials to begin soloing over giant steps today. Before we get started, it would be fantastic if you could give this video a like so that we can push it out to as many people as possible, and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my upcoming playing videos, lesson videos, a bit like this one, and discussions about music. And make sure to check out my latest guitar masterclass, How to Warm Up, which features 20 warm-up etudes utilizing vital materials, including scales and arpeggios, and you can also get it as part of the BGC bundle at bensguitarclub.com. Our first approach to giant steps today is going to utilize a chordal approach, which can also double as an arpeggio-based approach, and it particularly focuses on spread triads. Over one chorus of the form, it would sound something like this. As you heard, this took a chordal approach, playing our spread triads as chords, much like this. And not only is this a fantastic way to practice triads, you can also inherently hear the voice leading in the highest voice of each triadic voicing. D sharp, moving down to D in the highest note in the voicing. There's a B, moving down to a B flat as the highest note in the voicing. And you heard that type of voice leading continuing throughout all 16 bars. It's very effective when you hear this played chordally, but you can also pick out each single note of these spread triads, and it works just as well. B major triad, D major triad, G major triad, B flat major triad, E flat major triad, A minor triad, D major triad, G major triad. And you can continue picking all of the individual notes in those triads for all 16 bars. For me, this was a great way of finding a balance between a chordal approach to the giant steps changes and an arpeggio-based approach, because you can take all of these triadic voicings and play them as spread triad arpeggios. I talk about the theory behind spread triads in a lot more depth in my masterclass, How to Solo with Triads at bensguitarclub.com, and I found that applying the concepts of spread triads to the giant steps chord progression really opened things up for me. Is this an approach that you've taken? Maybe it's something that you'd like to work on in the future. Drop a comment and let me know. The second approach that really helped me to understand these chord changes in more depth, and much like the spread triads we just looked at, it's something I continue to practice to this day, and that is using scales and modes through the chord changes. Here's a basic example of how I would connect the Ionian mode, or major scale, and the Mixolydian mode through the first few bars of giant steps. Let's check it out. Let's hear that one more time. Theoretically, the way that I was employing these two modes over the chord changes was as follows. Each time I would hear a dominant chord, I would play the Mixolydian mode. For example, D Mixolydian. And each time I'd hear a major chord, I'd play the Ionian mode or major scale. For example, the G major scale. In action, this is what I played over each of the chord changes. B Ionian mode, D Mixolydian mode, G Ionian mode, B flat Mixolydian mode, and then landing on a B flat, which is the 5th degree of the E flat Ionian mode or E flat major scale. Even though this is a relatively simple approach, it's fantastic to limit yourself to utilizing certain materials over certain chords in the chord progression. It can be a fantastic exercise to limit yourself to just the Ionian mode over each major 7 chord and just the Mixolydian mode over each dominant chord. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can of course add the Dorian mode over each minor 7 chord. But between the triads that we began with and the modal approach that we just looked at, these two approaches together really kickstarted my improvised soloing over these changes. And I hope they help you too. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts about these two approaches, if you've found these approaches to be helpful, or perhaps you haven't. Let me know and we'll discuss it below. Make sure to give this video a like and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my upcoming playing videos, lesson videos, much like this one, and discussions about music. And if you want to take your playing to the next level, join me at bensguitarclub.com. Keep on playing, and I'll see you next time.